Problem number 2 asks us which triangles out of these 3 are similar. So going back to similar triangles or any similar shapes, there are 3 things that have to be true for them to be similar. The first thing is they have to be the same shape. And so looking at these 3 triangles, we see that they are all 3 isosceles triangles, so we can go ahead and check that off. They are the same shape. The second thing that has to be true is corresponding angles have to be congruent. So that means all of the angles, corresponding angles, have to be the exact same. So since they are all 3 isosceles triangles, we know that all of the angles are congruent, so that one's true. The third thing that has to be true is corresponding sides have to be proportional. And so to test that out, we are actually going to have to write a couple of proportions. So let's look at this triangle for a second because it's the only one that doesn't list all 3 side lengths like the other 2. But if we look at these markings here, that tells us that these 2 are equal. So that means it's the same as this side length, which is 15. So we could go ahead and label these 2 15. Okay, so let's set up our proportions to test this out. So first, to set up our proportion, we need to identify the corresponding sides. So I can look, even though some of our triangles are turned differently, I can look and I can tell that this side corresponds with this side on this triangle and this one on this triangle. So I'm going to go ahead and set up a proportion, and my proportion is going to have 3 ratios since I have 3 triangles. So it's going to look like this. And then I'm going to go ahead and write these 3 side lengths up here on top of each ratio. So this side length is 3, which corresponds with 15 on this triangle. So I'm going to put 15, and those correspond with 18 on this triangle. So I'm going to put 18 here. Then I'm going to pick another pair of corresponding sides. So I can see that 5 right here corresponds with 15 here and 30 here. And the other 2 side lengths are the same. This one's also 5, this one's also 15, and this one's also 30. So we don't need to do that twice. We can just use those numbers once. So since 5 is on the same triangle as the 3, I'm going to put 5 at the bottom of this ratio. And then 5 corresponds with 15 on this triangle, so I'm going to put 15 here. And then both of those correspond with 30 on this triangle, so I'm going to put 30 here. Now, to tell if they're proportional, we need to see if all of these ratios, or if any of them, are equivalent ratios. So if I can't simplify 3/5 anymore, so I'm just going to leave it. 15 over 15 I can simplify, and I know that that's just 1. And I know that 1 is not the same as 3/5. So I know that these 2 triangles, here and here, are not similar because those are not proportional. And I also know that 1 is not the same as 18 out of 30, so I know this one is not similar to this one. But now if I look at these 2 fractions, 3/5 and 18/30. Well, I can simplify 18/30. I can divide 18 by 6, and that gives me 3. And I can also divide 30 by 6, and that gives me 5. So I just simplified 18/30 to 3/5. So if you notice, this ratio is the same as the ratio we wrote for the first triangle. So since these 2 ratios are equivalent, we say they are proportional. So that tells me this triangle is similar to this triangle. So your correct answer should be triangles 1 and 3 are similar.